The following is a feature presentation of SVGN, the Sports Video Game Network.
We're getting down to the final weeks of the season, which means that some teams are going to be making a playoff push. Some teams are trying for that number one spot in their division and a potential top spot to host, at the very least, a wild card game. That is the fate the Philadelphia Eagles are hoping to get, and possibly do better depending on how other teams ahead of them do. Others know that might be a little bit out of reach, but a wild card spot, well, that could be right within their range. That is the fate the Carolina Panthers are hoping to put on themselves. Welcome to the first of our two Week 14 Games of the Week here on SVGN, the Sports Video Game Network. Hello everybody, I am your host and broadcaster Joe, and honestly, this season has been quite an interesting one. The Carolina Panthers, a team that was not expected to do all that well coming into this season. They actually started off pretty terribly. They were at one point 0-4, and yet since then, they are now knocking on the door of being in a playoff spot as they take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Panthers are at 4-7. Now, that might not seem very good. And in most cases, it's not. But there have been stranger things to happen. The Panthers hoping that maybe they can fire off a couple wins, maybe get into that playoff push. Things are very possible. Heck, they could even potentially push for the number 4 seed if they really get ahead of themselves and the teams ahead of them just kind of collapse. Bear in mind also that this NFC South division has been won by a team with a losing record twice. Recently, it was back in 2022 with the Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the first time it happened, which was actually the second time in NFL history that a division was ever won by a team with a losing record, at least in a regularly sized season, was 10 years ago today. Well, not today that the division was won, but 10 years ago as of this year, and that team that won it was the Carolina Panthers. Philadelphia Eagles know all about a division being won by a team with a losing record because back during the COVID season, back in 2020, their loss to the, at the time, Washington football team, now Washington Commanders, was what allowed Washington to win the NFC East. But they don't have to worry about them this season unless things just go horribly wrong for them in ways they can't even comprehend. Because right now, they're at 7-4 and sitting atop the division. And they've got their eye potentially at one of the top 2 spots that would give them a first-round bye. We'll take a look at how that standing looks overall, but this Philadelphia Eagles team has been doing pretty well for themselves so far this season. They started out just like the Panthers, not doing so well. They started at 1-3, and then since then they have won 6 of their last 7 games. The only game that they lost was back in Week 9, and that was at the hands of the Jaguars, a team who is also in the midst of their own playoff race for their division. We'll take a look at how things will go as the season continues. We're in the final stretch. We're in December, so we've only got about a month and a half before this season has concluded. For now, let's take a look at the standings. We'll start in the NFC South. The Saints and Falcons are currently tied for the top of the NFC South at 6-5. Carolina is still right behind them at 4-7, so only about 2 games back. If they can win, they can at the very least keep pace with them, depending on how the Saints and Falcons do with their games this week, with the Saints taking on the Giants and the Falcons taking on the Vikings. But nobody has to really worry about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers unless things just go horribly wrong for everybody involved, because the Buccaneers are at the bottom of the NFC South at 2-9. Meanwhile, taking a look at the NFC East, the Eagles are at 7-4. They're only a game ahead of Dallas, who wants to do something that hasn't been done in over 2 decades, and that's be back-to-back winners of the NFC East. And the last team to do that actually was the Philadelphia Eagles when they were led by Donovan McNabb. The Giants and Commanders, basically an afterthought for these two teams. Giants at 3-8, Commanders at 3-9, and they have a bye week this week, so that means they have even less of a chance to potentially win this division or even get into the playoffs in the first place. Taking a look at the standings so far, the Eagles right now sit at the 3 seed, which means that if things were to end today, they would be taking on the Chicago Bears here at Lincoln Financial Field. We'll get to that game soon enough. You'll notice that right ahead of them, you have the 8-3 Detroit Lions and the 9-2 San Francisco 49ers. So they still have a chance of getting one of those top 2 spots if things go well for them. Taking a look at the teams in the hunt, you have the Cowboys, Falcons, Rams, and Seahawks, but what you don't see is that right behind the Seahawks are actually the Carolina Panthers, who are only a game behind them and Los Angeles. So don't count them quite out just yet. Things could still go their way. They're right in that hunt with the rest of them, so don't underestimate them. And so good news for the Panthers, Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders are returning. We're going to take a small break, and when we come back, we'll take you down to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. And here we are at Lincoln Financial Field in the city of brotherly love. The Panthers will call heads. It is heads. And the Panthers will elect to return this one. So Jake Elliott will be kicking it off. Raheem Blackshear back to return. And he will take this from about the 6. And going to get taken down at the 16. Let's take a look at that Carolina Panthers starting offense. Bryce Young, the second-year quarterback out of Alabama, a school that the Eagles quarterback used to go to before his alma mater. Chuba Hubbard, the fourth-year running back out of Oklahoma State. At the wide receiver positions, you've got Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson, and Jonathan Mingo. At the tight end, you have Tommy Tremble, and he'll be lining up on the offensive line alongside Austin Corbett, Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt, Ika Mekwanu, and Taylor Motton. Dave Canales, the former Buccaneers offensive coordinator, is the head coach for the Panthers, and the first-year offensive coordinator for Carolina is Brad Idzik. 1st and 10 for the Panthers on their own 16. Young dropping back, looking for an open Deontay Johnson, but he's incomplete. So that'll be a 2nd and 10 for Carolina. Young going to hand this one off to Hubbard, and Hubbard only going to get about 5. Let's take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles starting defense. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter are the defensive linemen. At the linebacker positions, you have Josh Sweat, Nakobe Dean, and Bryce Huff alongside rookie Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo. Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Slay are the corners for Philadelphia. And at the safety positions, you have Reed Blankenship and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. The first-year defensive coordinator for Philadelphia, at least for this term, is Vic Fangio. And the fourth-year special teams coordinator is Michael Clay. Third and 5 for Carolina. And Young going to hand this one off to Hubbard. He's got the first down, and Morrissey's running along the near sideline, and he's going to fumble the ball. It's going to bounce around into the hands of Jordan Davis. And that's going to get good field position for the Eagles to start with. 1st and 10 on the Carolina 28, as Hurts going to play action before throwing for Jahan Dotson, incomplete. Let's take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles starting offense. Jalen Hurts in his 5th year out of Oklahoma. He's the starting quarterback for Philadelphia. Lining up behind him, the big acquisition of the offseason. Everybody was talking about it. It's Saquon Barkley, the former Giant, now at running back. here in Philadelphia, the same state he went to school in. And Jahan Dotson also returning to this state, as he had been drafted by the Commanders out of Penn State. He's in his third year. A.J. Brown is also a wide receiver for the Eagles. He's done great work for them, as has Devonta Smith. Dallas Goedert, the tight end for the Eagles. How ironic, a player named Dallas is helping Philadelphia. And he's lining up on the offensive line alongside Cam Jurgens, Mekhi Becton, Tyler Steen, Jordan Mailata, and Lane Johnson. Nick Sirianni in his fourth year as Philadelphia Eagles head coach, and the offense coordinator is Kellen Moore. Second and 10 for Philadelphia. Hurts going to hand this one off to Barkley, who's running around, ran towards the far side before cutting back towards the middle. 3rd and 5. Hurts in shotgun formation. Looking, firing to his left for Devonta Smith in the end zone for the touchdown for the Eagles. And with that, Philly strikes first today with a 7-0 lead. If Jake Elliott's extra point goes through, which it does, 7-0 Eagles. And Raheem Blackshear will be back to return this for Carolina. Take it from about the 1.5 before he's down at the 10. So Carolina, this is essentially do or die for them, as Hubbard going to get about 5 on that one. Young in shotgun formation for this play. He's going to throw to his right for Jonathan Mingo, diving for it, incomplete. So it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Panthers. Man in motion, just a little bit to the right. Hubbard going to run along the near sideline, going to fight for that first down, gets it, and is still on his feet as he's down at about the 38. So 1st and 10 for Carolina. Young looking and going to try and run forward, but he's going to get taken down. Milton Williams going to get credited with the sack there. 2nd and 16. Man in motion to Young's right. And he's running out of time as Milton Williams credited with yet another sack. This will push him back 7 yards. So 3rd and long. As Young dropping back, trying to get this one off for Hubbard. It's a screen. And he's going to run along the far sideline. Does get some good yardage, but only about 11. And so Carolina going to be forced to punt the ball. Johnny Hecker, the punter, and Britton Covey will be back to return for the Eagles. Going to take it from the 12. Going to get to the 25. And let's take a look at that starting defense for the Carolina Panthers. Derek Brown, Shai Tuttle, and Ashawn Robinson, the defensive linemen. For linebackers, you have B.J. Johnson, Josie Jewell, Shaq Thompson, and former number 1 overall pick Jadeveon Clowney. Mike Jackson and J.C. Horn are the corners for Carolina. And at the safety positions, you have Jordan Fuller and Xavier Woods. Ejiro Evero is the second-year defensive coordinator for Carolina, and the first-year special teams coordinator is Tracy Smith. 1st and 10 for Philadelphia on their own 25. Toss for Saquon, and he's going to run along the far side. Got an easy first down as he's taken down about the 43. So 1st and 10 for the Eagles. Sorry. Hurts going to try and run this himself. Only going to get about 6, it looks like. So 2nd and 4. Hurts in shotgun formation. Offensive line holding on. A throw for Jahan Dotson, and he's down at the 40 of the Panthers. 1st and 10, Philadelphia. Hurts in shotgun formation. Going to try and run forward. Running into a lineman. Gets it off in time for A.J. Brown, who can't quite get a hand on it. Leapt up to grab it, but just a little bit too high. So 2nd and 10. Hurts going to run it himself up the middle yet again. And this time he's taken down at the 20 for a gain of 20. Nice run there by Hurts, who's been a big weapon for Philadelphia. Led them to their Super Bowl appearance 2 years ago. Is Barkley going to get taken down after a gain of 7? Shotgun formation for Hurts. Looking for an open man. Gonna try and throw this one to his left for Devonta Smith in the back of the end zone, but can't quite get it to him. 3rd and 3 on the 13. Hurts gonna hand this one off to Saquon. Saquon's got the first down and taken down at about the 9. 1st and goal, Eagles. Hurts gonna hand this off to Barkley yet again, and Barkley avoids the tackles for the touchdown. And with that, Philadelphia up by 2 scores. And the extra point from Jake Elliott, it's up, and it's good. A 2-touchdown lead for Philadelphia. With under 2 minutes to go in this quarter, Blackshear will be taking it back from the 12.5, and he's down about the 16. 1st and 10, Panthers. Young dropping back. Looking and throwing to his right for Jonathan Mingo, who can't quite get a hold of it. 2nd and 10. Young gonna toss this one for Hubbard. Hubbard running along the near sideline, got the first down and more as he's taken down at about the 28. 1st and 10, Carolina. Young going to hand this off to Hubbard yet again. Hubbard running back towards the middle as he's got the first down yet again. Down at about the 39. 1st and 10, Carolina. The offense is pushing through as Young gonna try and get this one off, but it's out of bounds. Looks like he wasn't quite happy with the way the field looked, so he threw it out of bounds. Young dropping back with the final play of the quarter. A throw is deflected. That looked like it might have been going left, or the left of Bryce Young anyway. So 3rd and 10 on the 39. Young dropping back. Gonna try and throw this one to his left again, but it's deflected. Incomplete. So that'll bring up 4th and 10 here in Philadelphia. As Hecker's punt on the way. And Britton Covey back to return for the home team. They'll take it back from about the 4-yard line. And he'll get taken down at the 15. And that is unfortunate. Britton Covey injured on that punt return. So that means they will go with Kenneth Gainwell for punt returns now. So 1st and 10 for the Eagles. Hurts going to hand this one off to Barkley, who is going to run to the 20 for a gain of 5. 2nd and 5 for the Eagles. Hurts going to take it himself, and he doesn't get too far, only gets about 1 yard. 3rd and 4. Hurts dropping back. Plenty of time. Throw for Devonta Smith, and he's got the first down and more. He's into Carolina territory, and he's still going. Plenty of room to run as he's going to get taken down at about the 20-yard line of the Panthers. So it'll be 1st and 10 there. Hurts dropping back. Going to try and run forward with it now. A throw for Devonta Smith, and he's got it. A nice connection from Hurts to Smith. And with this extra point going through, it'll be a 3-touchdown lead for the Eagles. And it's good. 21-0. And Raheem Blackshear back to return. He'll take this back from about the 7. And he'll get taken down at the 23. 1st and 10, Carolina. Trying to make a comeback here. Young throws to his right for Mingo, and he's got it easily. And he's into Philadelphia territory as well, down at the 35. Great connection there to Mingo. 1st and 10. Young hands it off to Hubbard. And Hubbard only going to get about 1 yard on that one. 2nd and 9. Men in motion for the Panthers. Young dropping back. Looking and throwing for Deontay Johnson. He's got the first down. And he's down about the 17. 1st and 10. I don't know why I said it was the 17. It was the 23. Throw for Johnson, and he's not able to get it. Deflected before it could get to him. 2nd and 10 on the 23. Young hands it off to Hubbard. Does not go anywhere. Loss of yardage, actually. So 3rd and 13 on the 26. Young dropping back. Defense breaks through. Nakobe Dean with the sack. And so they're going to go for the field goal here. This will be a 52-yarder. And Eddie Pinheiro's kick on the way. Doinks in, 21-3. And Rodgers back to return this for Philadelphia. He's going to be in the end zone, about 2 yards before he's taken down at about the, looks like the 8. 1st and 10 for Philadelphia. Toss for Saquon. And he's not going to get too far. Only gains about 2 yardage. 2nd and 8. Hurts hands off to Barkley, breaking a tackle, still on his feet. He's got the first down, and Morris, he keeps on running. Look at this man run! And he's going to get taken down at the Panthers 45. How about the speed on him? You can tell he's definitely happy to be on this new scene. Change of scenery's definitely helped him. Hurts going to throw for A.J. Brown. Brown's got the first down and more. Can he? Could he? Will he? No. He's going to get stopped at the 5. 1st and goal for Philadelphia. Hurts tosses this one to Barkley, who's running along the far side. Only gained about a yard. 2nd and goal on the 4. Barkley going to run this one in for the touchdown. And with that, the Eagles just an extra point away from a big lead here in Philadelphia. Jake Elliott's kick on the way, and it's good. Philadelphia leading 28-3. As Raheem Blackshear back to return. Falcons fans can tell you that 28-3 is not necessarily a down-and-out score, as Blackshear gonna get taken out at the 15. 1st and 10 for Carolina. Tossed for Chuba Hubbard. Running along the near side. And only gained about 8 as the Panthers going to call their first timeout. 2nd and 2. Young going to throw this up to his right. Looked like it was for Jonathan Mingo. 3rd and 2 for Carolina. Handoff to Hubbard. Goes backwards for a loss of 4. Carolina going to call their second timeout, and they will punt the ball as well. And here is the Johnny Hecker punt. Gainwell going to take this from about the 31 of his own territory anyway, and he's down at the 46. That'll be where the Eagles' drive will start with 25 seconds to go. Toss for Saquon, running along the far sideline. Cutting back towards the middle. So 2nd and 2 with time for maybe one more play. Hurts in shotgun formation. Plenty of open space. Gonna throw this one to his right for A.J. Brown, who can't get tackled, as that is a touchdown here for Philadelphia. And how about this Eagles offense firing on all cylinders, especially to end the half here. Jake Elliott's kick on the way, and it's good. And we will go into halftime with the Eagles maintaining a 35-3 lead over the Carolina Panthers, and the Eagles will also get the ball to start the second half. A reminder for you that on Saturday, we will have a big AFC West battle as Justin Herbert, the former Oregon Duck, leads the LA Chargers into Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes and the division-leading Chiefs. That's all coming up for you on Saturday, our second game of the week for Week 14 here on SVGN, the Sports Video Game Network. And here we go to start the second half. Rodgers will be back at the 1. And he's going to get up to the 20 and down about the 22.5. 1st and 10 for Philadelphia. They'll say the 23. Hurts going to play action. Looking and throwing over the middle for A.J. Brown. But he's not quite able to get a first down on that one. Nice diving catch, though, for the 9-yard gain. Hurts going to hand this one off to Barkley, and Barkley going to get taken down after a gain of about 3. So it'll be 1st and 10 yet again. Hurts able to use the play action to his advantage. A throw for Jahan Dotson, but he's taken down from behind after a gain of 7. 2nd and 3. Hurts, play action. Gonna throw to his left for Devontae Smith, who dives for it into Carolina territory and more as he's in the red zone now. And taken down at about the 13-yard line. First and 10 Eagles, as Barkley going to take this one to about the 11-yard line. Hurts in shotgun formation. Looking, going to try and run forward. Get this one off for Dallas. Got it for an easy touchdown. And just like that, the Eagles take an even bigger lead over the Carolina Panthers. Been a good season for Philadelphia, and they're hoping that it'll lead them to potential success in the playoffs after an early elimination last year at the hands of the Buccaneers in the first round. Blacks are going to take this from about the 4.5 and gets taken down at the 20. First and 10 for Carolina, who needs to come back, and they need to come back now. Young looking for a throw over the middle for Jonathan Mingo, who can't quite get his hands on it. Incomplete. Second and 10. Handoff to Blackshear, and he's sent back 4 yards. Third and 14, man in shotgun. That being Young, and Young taken down by Jalen Carter for the loss of 8. So they'll go for the punt here. Hecker back to the actual goal line now. Gainwell going to take this one from about the 39. And he's going to get taken down at about the 46. First and 10, Philadelphia. A toss for Barkley, who's running along the near sideline. Barkley still on his feet. Barkley keeps on running, and he's down at about the 16. So that'll be where this set of downs starts. Hurts with the first and 10 toss to Barkley yet again. Cutting back towards the middle, but only gains about 4. Hurts in shotgun formation. Gonna try and run forward with it and take it himself, and he will score with it! And Philadelphia has easily put this one away. This one has been all Eagles from the start. And the extra point by Jake Elliott on the way, and it's good. 49-3. And we're just under halfway through the third quarter as well. Who knows what surprises might come for us in the rest of this game. Now, the Bengals did score an 80-burger on the Chargers a couple weeks ago, back in Week 11, as Hubbard's going to take this one to the 22. That is the current record for most points scored in an NFL game. Young going to get this one off and incomplete. Had to throw it away, otherwise he was going down with it yet again. Second and 10. Toss for Hubbard. And he's running along the near sideline and taken down to about the 35. First and 10, Carolina. Young dropping back. Gonna throw this one to his right. Mingo can't quite get a hold of it. Second and 10. Young dropping back. Plenty of time. Gonna try and throw this one to his left for Johnson. And Johnson's got the first down, right? Yes, he does. So first and 10, Carolina from the 45-yard line. Young hands it off to Hubbard, who's taken down after a gain of 3. Carolina trying to get some dignity for themselves as Young dropping back. Looking and throwing to his right for Jonathan. Mingo dives for it but can't quite get it. You might remember back in Week 2, they had scored 7 points, but only on the final play of the game. And a shellacking that the Chargers gave them. A throw for Deontay Johnson is complete. They'd actually have scored less points. If they do not score a touchdown here, they will have scored less points than that. A throw for Mingo to his right, and it's picked off! C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the former Saint, actually, taken down at the 20-yard line. And a toss for Saquon running along the far sideline. This will probably be the final play of the third quarter. And it will be. The Eagles have a 49-3 lead. Hurts going to hand this one off to Barkley yet again. And he's down at the 46. Hurts going to hand this one off to Saquon yet again. And Saquon fighting for a couple more yards, but he's got the first down easily. It'll be 1st and 10 on the 49 of the Eagles. As Hurts going to play action and throw for A.J. Brown. I think he got it. He got the first down. Just enough. So 1st and 10 for the Eagles yet again. Hurts going to toss for Barkley, but the defense ready for him. Sending him back 5 yards. 2nd and 15 on the Panthers 45 as Hurts going to look and throw for Jahan Dotson to his left. Dotson going to get wrapped up before he's taken down at the 32. And it's 3rd and 2 at the 32. Barkley going to get handed this one. Or tossed it, actually. And he is going to score with it. And with that, the Eagles have 50. At the very least, it'll be a 56-3 lead if this extra point goes through. Elliott kick on the way, and it's good. And so the Panthers still trying to play for pride. They know this game's over, but they don't want it to be over. And they're going to fight for it if they can. 1st and 10 at the 7. Young dropping back. Tries to run forward. Wrapped up before Nakobe Dean takes him down for a sack. 2nd and 12 for Carolina. Young hands it off to Hubbard, and he is going to get back to where this drive started, and a little bit further as he's down at the 8. Young tries to run forward, going to fumble the ball, bouncing around before it's picked up by the Eagles. I couldn't quite tell who it was, but it's going to be 1st and goal on the 3. Hurts tosses for Barkley, but the defense ready for him. Sends him back 4 yards. 2nd and goal. Hurts in shotgun formation. Got plenty of time. Got plenty of open space. Gonna throw for Dotson, and Dotson's got the touchdown. Jahan Dotson. Spent the past few years with the Commanders. The past couple years, actually. Traded in the offseason. And the kick on the way is good. So it'll be 63-3. Blackshear will be back to return this. And he is going to get taken down at the 11. This has not been going quite the way Carolina was hoping it would. It's gone completely disastrous for them. The throw over the middle for Adam Thielen. And Thielen's got the first down and more as he's down at about the 49 of the Eagles. With just over 4 minutes to go. Hand off to Hubbard. And he's going to get taken down at about the 42. Maybe the 43. Young dropping back. Looking. Firing for Chuba Hubbard, incomplete. And you have to wonder, is Young undergoing the sophomore slump we see so many good quarterbacks in the first year of their careers do? A throw for Johnson. He's wide open and he's got the touchdown. So at the very least, the Panthers will get this one to double digits for themselves. But this one is really just garbage time from now on. At least for the rest of the game. And it's good. So Pinheiro going to try for the onside kick. Anything at this point. Going to get recovered by Barkley. And he's going to get taken out the 49. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Eagles. The remaining schedule for them. It's 3 home games before they have they have 1 road game in the middle of it. As a throw for A.J. Brown. Taken down. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers next week. Then they go to Washington before they come back to take on their other division rivals in the form of the Cowboys and Giants. Hurts in shotgun formation, but the defense gets to him. Shaq Thompson credited with the sack. As the Panthers going to call their second timeout. 2nd and 19. Out of the Panthers' own 46. Barkley going to run along the near sideline, still on his feet, and taken down in the red zone. About the 20, about the 17. Hurts dropping back. Looking and throwing for Devontae Smith, and he's got the touchdown. And the Eagles going to put 70 on the board against the Panthers. This might be the largest win the Philadelphia Eagles have had in a while. Kick on the way is good. 70-10. And Young going to return this. And Blackshear going to return this at the 3. And going to get taken down at about the 11-yard line. Looking at the upcoming Panthers schedule for the remainder of the season, they've got Dallas and Arizona next week before they have division rivalries and back-to-back road games in the form of the Buccaneers and Falcons, as Hubbard going to get the first down off the screen pass there. But Carolina really needed this win, and that's going to be a fumble recovered by Philly. Jalen Carter going to take it back to the 20-yard line. So the Eagles won't score 80. Will they get somewhat close with it? Hurts only going to get about 1 yard on that one. So 2nd and 9. Hurts is going to toss this one to Barkley. Barkley running along the near side down at about the 6-yard line. 1st and goal for the Eagles from there. Hurts going to toss this one to Barkley yet again, and he's got the touchdown. And how about the lead the Eagles have today? What a dominant performance by the entire offense, but the defense, you got to give credit to them as well. The score would not be nearly as big without their contributions, as it's 77-10. Blackshear back to return this for what will be the final play of the game at the 6. And he's going to get to the 23. That will do it for us. The Eagles come away with a 77-10 victory. They improve to 8-4. Carolina going to drop to 4-8. And let's take a look at the standings as of right now in the NFC. In the South, the Panthers now at 4-7, fall further behind Atlanta and New Orleans. So their hopes of potentially catching up with them at this point, not even close to them, because they're now going to be 2.5 games back of those teams. Meanwhile, in the NFC East, the Eagles now pull farther away from Dallas, trying to give them a bit of a stronger lead in the NFC East divisional race. And taking a look at the overall standings right now, with the Eagles win, they're still at 8-4. However, if the Lions lose, that could potentially put the Eagles into the 2 seed. Actually, I don't believe it will. I believe because the Lions play the Packers, it will put the Packers at the 2 seed. But this could still be interesting how the rest of the season goes. Big impact here, depending on what goes on with the rest of the teams. The 49ers, by the way, playing Chicago this week. So, if they can win, they'll cement a further lead. They'll give themselves a little bit more breathing room between themselves and both the Lions and Eagles, or the Packers if the Lions lose to Green Bay. And that's going to do it for us today. A reminder that on Saturday we will be having our other game of the week between the Los Angeles Chargers and Kansas City Chiefs, and to come back on Monday for our Tecmo Rewind for Week 14. For all of us here at SVGN, the Sports Video Game Network, I'm your host, Joe, saying good night, everybody!